In my previous beginner's guide to cryptocurrency mining video, I explained the basic of cryptocurrency wallet, as well as cryptocurrency mining. And I also shared one of the simplest ways to get started in GPU mining, and that's through a platform called NiceHash. In this video, I'm going to share with you how you can direct mine cryptocurrencies with the GPUs that you have and all the information that you need to know in order to get started, including which coin to mine, how to decide which coin to mine, how can you figure out and know your profitability, how can you set up the miners and get them up and running, and also how can you increase your profits by proper overclocking and undervolting. And I'm also going to share with you personally what wallets that I use for different coins that are going to be covered in this video, just so you have a few varieties and reference and all the other great stuff. I'll try to make this guide as comprehensive as possible. As you can see, I have literally like pages of content flow that I want to cover. So I'm going to include timestamps for every single topic that is going to be covered in this video, so that in the future it's easier for you to refer back to sections that you might want to rewatch, and also all the things that I mentioned, like wallets, mining pools, software, and the other informations that I'm going to mention in this video. I'll put links in the description, so make sure you check out the description of this video as well. So with that being said, let's get started into the content of this video. To start cryptocurrency mining, you will need 4 things, and let's cover them one by one. So the first thing that you will need is actually mining hardware. So because we are GPU mining, the mining hardware in this case would be your GPU. As of right now, you can no longer mine Ethereum with graphics card that has 4 GB of VRAM or lower. So you still can mine other coins, but the profitability would be very low. And this is because the DAX size of the Ethereum. I'm not going to explain about DAX size, but just understand that DAX size of each crypto will build up over time. So in order to future-proof your any GPU purchase, it would be better if you can buy GPUs that have higher VRAM, like for example at least 6 GB. I would say if you can go for like 8 or 10 GB of VRAMs, that would be the best in order to future-proof that purchase. At the point of recording this tutorial, if you want to get into GPU mining with NVIDIA GPUs, I would say the bare minimum would be the higher end of the GTX 10 series cards, like the GTX 1070 and GTX 1080. But these cards are not going to be as efficient compared to some of the newer cards. Now, the best overall performance I would say would be the RTX 30 series, because they are very new. Be it LHR or non-LHR, they're actually great GPU for mining in terms of mining performance and also efficiency, as well as future-proofing your purchase. Now, the slightly older RTX 20 series is great in mining as well, and even the older GTX 1660 Super and GTX 1660 Ti are very great and efficient mining GPU as well. As for the AMD side, personally, I don't have a lot of experience with AMD GPUs, but the newer 6000 series are great, I would say, except for the 6800 XT and 6900, because they are not as efficient. And also the previous generation 5000 series card, like the 5700 XT, is still great. As for the slightly older cards like RX 470, 480, 570 and 580s, they are actually still great, especially those 8 GB card. The second thing that you will need is actually your wallet. So this is going to be the wallet whereby your mining payouts would be deposited into. If you're mining Ergo, then you will need an Ergo wallet. If you are mining Ravencoin, then you will need a Ravencoin wallet. If you're mining Ethereum, then of course you will need an Ethereum wallet. But for Ethereum, there might be an exceptions, and I'll be explaining this later in the tutorial. For every coin covered in this tutorial, I'll also be sharing with you which wallet I personally mine to. Now, you might also want to consider how you're going to cash out your cryptocurrencies in the future, as in how you are going to convert your cryptocurrencies into cash, or what we call fiat money, in the future when you need them for your daily life. Because of this, some people actually prefer to mine into what we call an exchange, whereby you can conveniently sell the crypto into USDT and also convert into fiat money depending on which country you are based in. One thing that you need to be careful is that your wallet addresses could be changed by the exchange, and if you do not realize it on time, you would be mining into a wallet address that you no longer have any access. Or sometimes the exchange might just stop supporting deposit and withdrawal of certain cryptocurrency. So just be mindful about this. If you are mining the cryptocurrency and you plan to keep it for the long term, it would be the best if you can mine into wallets whereby you have your own private keys. And also, you might want to consider diversify your holdings into different wallets just in case something happens. With all being said, mining into an exchange is alright because it definitely provides us certain level of convenience, but the caveat would be we have to make sure that we are mining into a valid wallet address, because I personally had case whereby I mined into a wallet address and then all of a sudden the exchange just stopped supporting deposit and withdrawal of the crypto that I mined. So just be mindful about this. Now, the third thing that you will need is actually what we call the miner. So the miner is actually the software that will do the mining for you. And you have many choices out there. Personally, I use Phoenix Miner, T-Rex Miner, and NB Miner. Phoenix Miner is actually one of the most popular miners out there, especially when it comes to mining Ethereum. So it works for both AMD and NVIDIA graphics card. But the thing about Phoenix Miner is actually the amount of algorithms that it supports is actually very, very limited. Next, we have T-Rex Miner. So T-Rex Miner only works for NVIDIA GPUs. Nowadays, I use T-Rex Miner more often because it has the capabilities to unlock hash rates from NVIDIA LHR GPU, as well as some of the other advanced features that it has when it comes to tweaking the GPUs. NB Miner is also another great miners out there. It works for both AMD and NVIDIA GPUs, and it also has the capabilities to unlock some hash rate from NVIDIA LHR graphics card. The ways of setting up these miners are actually very similar, and I will cover during the tutorial later. Since we are talking about the miners right now, before downloading any miner, let's talk about antivirus a little bit. As mentioned in my previous video about mining with NiceHash, most of the miners out there would be flagged by our antivirus or firewall as a malicious program. This is because a lot of other people use mining software maliciously, so that's why all these mining software or miners are being flagged as a malicious program. So before you download any miner, do your own research and due diligence. So to me, I only use the popular miners out there, and I always make sure that I download those miners from the official websites, the official GitHub page, or the official thread on the Bitcoin Talk forum. Even so, your system will still flag these miners as malicious program, because when a lot of users actually flag or report those miners that are being used maliciously, your antivirus will actually blacklist all these mining software altogether. So to solve this issue, what I like to do is actually you can choose a location that you want to put all your miners together, and in this case I will just go to the C drive and then create a folder, name it miner. And then what we want to do is actually go to our security dashboard and then click virus and threat protection settings, click manage settings, and then under exclusion we can click add or remove exclusions. And basically we just add an exclusion for the entire folder. In this case would be the folder named miner, and then we just download and extract all the miners that we are going to download later into this specific folder. And in this case, your antivirus or your firewall would actually exclude this folder from their usual scanning and so-called protection. The fourth thing that you need is actually a pool. A pool right over here refers to a mining pool. This is where we join the other miners around the world. We share our hash rate over a network and hope that we can find and solve blocks more frequently and then share the reward equally according to the hash rate we contribute to the pool. For every coin that I'll be sharing with you later, I'll also be sharing with you which mining pool I personally use or what mining pool I recommend you to use. So no worries on this part just yet. You will learn it in the later tutorial. Another thing that you will need is actually a software called MSI Afterburner to overclock and undervolt your GPU. Now this software works for all GPU regardless if your GPU is MSI brand or not, and it works for both NVIDIA and AMD graphics card, and it is free to use. Next up, let's discuss about how you can decide what coin or what crypto to mine. So the first thing that you need to do is actually check the profitability of your specific GPU. So with this, we can use whattomine.com and select your GPU, look for the profitability. So right now, let me just show you how you can actually use this website. So right over here is the list of GPU that you can find in the market right now, and they are profitable to mine. For 3060, 3060 Ti, 3070, 3080, you will actually find two variants. One without L and one with the L. So L stands for LHR. And 3070 and 3080 Ti, by nature, they are LHR, so you don't see the L behind the model name. If you are having LHR GPUs or you plan to get some RTX 30 series GPU in the near future, which are probably going to be LHR unless you get some non-LHR RTX 30 series card used, or you get the RTX 3090, which is natively non-LHR, or else you're probably going to end up with the RTX 30 series LHR version. What you need to do is actually stick until the end of this tutorial, because what I'm going to share with you is actually how you can actually unlock the hash rates of these LHR cards up to 100%. So using what I have here today is actually a 3070 Ti sitting on my test bench, and we want to find out the profitability of this GPU. So the hash rate right over here that you see is actually just a general guideline of what this GPU can actually achieve. So these are just general guidelines. You might get more or less than this, usually more if you do the overclocking and undervolting properly. And right over here you can see the cost. This is how much your electricity costs. So I'm staying here in Malaysia specifically. My state is having around 8 cents US dollar cents per kilowatt hour. And after that you can actually go and hit calculate. So after you hit calculate, the system will actually show you what would be the most profitable coin to mine. At the point of recording this video, according to whattomine.com, the most profitable coin is actually Zero and Ryo, and then Ethereum comes in at the 4th place. Now, most of the time, Ethereum is going to be the most profitable coin to mine, and even in whattomine.com, by default, Ethereum is being highlighted. Now, sometimes, like what we have just happened few days ago, is actually the price of Ethereum actually came down, and some of these altcoin actually pops out as the most profitable coin to mine. But the problems are actually the first thing, some of the coins with the smaller market cap like Rio right over here only has a 0.04 BTC as compared to Ethereum, which has like 2007 BTC worth of market cap. So these smaller coins, you are going to face more problems like exchange. They are ditching the support on withdrawal and deposit of these coins, and you have problems finding wallets and also things like that. So if you focus on coins or cryptos that have larger market cap, you will have an easier time to figuring out which wallet to use and how you are going to actually convert those coins into USDT, or even convert them and withdraw them into fiat. So right over here, we can see that Ethereum is coming in at 4th place, but most of the time is going to be the most profitable coin to mine. And that's the reason why when Nvidia released the LHR series of GPUs, they primarily target Ethereum to be limited, right? So the next one is actually Ravencoin coming in at 14 BTC in market cap, and then Conflux we have like 7 BTC in market cap, and then Flux 185 BTC and Ergo 3.23 BTC. So in this video, I'm going to share with you how you can mine Ethereum, Ravencoin, and also Ergo. And after that, towards the end of this video, I'm going to share with you how you can unlock hash rate of your LHR GPU with dual mining. So let's talk about profitability right now. So for this 3070 Ti at the point of recording, according to whattomine.com, if I were to mine Ethereum, I can get $1.85 of profits after electricity if I mine it for 24 hours. So how this $1.85 is being derived is actually how much Ethereum you can mine, in this case 0.0007 Ethereum that you can mine in a single day, multiplied by the Ethereum price right now, and then you would get $2.22. And after you deduct electricity, it would be $1.85. So to me, I prefer to mine and hold cryptos that I have conviction for instead of doing speculative mining, which is essentially referring to mining some of the altcoins that are usually very cheap in price and then hoping that the price will spike one day in the future and make some exponential gain or sort of like jackpot kind of profits. So this is not what I do. But again, it also depends on what coins you are able to mine. For example, if you only have a 4GB VRAM GPU, then you wouldn't be able to mine Ethereum. So what you can do is actually mine the coins that are most profitable to be mined and then convert them into Ethereum or any other coins like Bitcoins, whereby you feel okay to hold over the long run. Alright, so now let's get into the practical part. For every crypto that I mentioned in this video, I'm going to share with you how you can set everything up and running. I'll start by sharing with you what wallet I personally use. I'll also share with you how you can set the miners up and running, which pool I use or which pool I'll recommend you to use, how can you do proper overclocking and undervolting, as well as figuring out the profitability of you mining the coin. Just for your reference, I'm going to use this NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3070 Ti GPU, which is by nature an LHR GPU, and it is sitting on the test bench for this entire tutorial and demonstration. Alright, now let's start with the first crypto, which is Ethereum. So when it comes to Ethereum, I'm a long-term holder of Ethereum. So what I do is I direct mine Ethereum to wallet addresses that are of platforms that will give me interest for the Ethereum that I own and hold in that wallet, specifically BlockFi and Celsius. And at the time of recording this video, Celsius is giving slightly higher interest rate than what BlockFi offers for Ethereum. So that's why I am directly mining most of my Ethereum into Celsius wallet right now. Another great thing about Celsius is actually the free withdrawal. If you have sent some Ethereum in the past or recently, you know that the gas fee, which is the transaction fee you have to pay when sending Ethereum, is insanely high. So if you were to ask me, I would say that this free withdrawal is really a big thing. If not, it is at least a plus point for us to use Celsius. If you prefer to withdraw the Ethereum after you have mined rather than keeping them, what you can do is actually mine directly into an exchange whereby you can easily convert your Ethereum into fiat. So if you are like me, coming from Malaysia, you can actually directly mine to your Luno or Huobi wallets, whereby you can sell the Ethereum and then cash out really quickly and conveniently with low fees. But to me, I hold Ethereum for the super long run, so that's why I prefer to hold my Ethereum in a wallet whereby I will get interest over time. So Celsius and BlockFi are still my go-to wallets as far as Ethereum is concerned. Next up, let's talk about the miner. If you are using one of the NVIDIA's LHR GPUs like what we have here today, then I would direct you to use T-Rex Miner, because T-Rex Miner has the capabilities to unlock hash rate from LHR GPU. So in this case, while mining Ethereum alone, it can unlock up to 76% of the mining capabilities. So in this demonstration, I'll be using T-Rex miner. There is one incident happened in August 2021, which is called the EIP 1559, and I'm not going into details about this EIP 1559. If you are interested to learn more and find out more about this EIP 1559, you can do the research yourself. A little bit of Google will help. But what I'm going to do here is actually share with you some of the issues that miners are facing after this EIP 1559 and of course the solutions. So the first thing, after the EIP 1559, most of the Ethereum mining pools out there no longer bear the transaction fee for their payouts. So meaning that as miners, when we want to get our Ethereum payout or when we have already reached the minimum payout threshold, we have to bear the gas fee while getting our payout. And again, the Ethereum gas fee is just insanely high. There are of course ways to set the maximum gas fee that we are willing to pay, but definitely there are way too many hassles in my opinion. You have to wait before you get your payout, and there are just many little things that we need to worry. So to me, I use Hive on pool exclusively to mine Ethereum nowadays. The reason is because Hive on actually pay for the transaction fee. So as you can see right over here, it says we pay transaction fee and the minimum payout is 0.1 Ethereum, which means every time I hit 0.1 ETH, 0.1 Ethereum, then the pool will actually pay me the Ethereum that I've already mined within that day, and I don't have to worry about whether or not during the day the gas fee is high or low. I will get my payout. And another great thing is that the pool fee is 0%. So for most mining pools out there, for Ethereum, the pool fee is actually 1%. And again, for Hive on pool, it is 0%. So with these two things that Hive on pool offers, I have no reasons not to recommend Hive on pool. So now let's download the T-Rex miner and start mining Ethereum into the Hive on pool. So what I did here is basically download the miner and then quickly move into the miners folder that we have already previously excluded from our antivirus or firewall. So once it is here in this folder, just go ahead and extract the entire folder. So inside this folder, you will see a lot of batch files that are already pre-made for you. So what we want to do is actually look into those that has ETH hash, for example, ETH hash, 2 miners, Ethermine, ETH proxy, Flexpool, and those pre-made batch file, but there is no Hive on right over here. So what we can do is we have to create the batch file ourselves, but we can just simply copy one of the batch file and then just paste it. So we can name this ETH Hive on, and then we can next you start editing this batch file. So right click and then go to edit. So this is the typical batch file that you will see, okay, of any mining software or miner. So again, you don't have to worry because I'm going to go through with you which things that you have to change. So those like T-Rex.exe, -air, ETH, you don't have to worry. The first thing that you need to change is actually this mining address. So this one you have to replace with the server of the mining pool. So in this case is eth.hiveon.com. So go ahead and paste this into the batch file, just replace it. And then for the server port, as shown in the Hive on pool is 4444. So just type 4444. If this doesn't work, you can try 14444 or you can try another one. But we just go for 4444 first. Next thing is to replace this wallet address with your Ethereum wallet address. So don't actually mine into this wallet address, or else you'll be mining into somebody's else Ethereum wallet address. So just go ahead and paste your wallet address right over here. And remember that sometimes when we paste, we do not have the space. Remember, by default, there is a space here. So remember just to leave a space right over there. So the next thing that you will need to change is actually this rig 0. So this is the name of your rig. So if you have multiple rigs, you can name it accordingly so that it is easier for you to keep track which rig is which can and so on. So this will be reflected in your pool dashboard later on. So for this demonstration, I'll just put it as test bench. And then next thing, just go ahead and save this batch file and you are good to go. So once you are done with the batch file edit, what you can do is actually create a desktop shortcut so that next time it's more convenient for you to launch the miner. But right now, we'll just straight away go and double click it and run the miner. So right now, the miner is actually trying to mine Ethereum at the stock settings of your graphics card. So one thing that we need to do is actually overclocking and undervolting. So while letting the miner to run at the stock settings and explain a little bit about overclocking and undervolting to you, here is one disclaimer that I want to make. So for each and every GPU that you have to do your own test to find out the best performance and efficiency overclock and undervolting settings. And this is exactly why we have a test bench like this to actually test out every single GPU before we get them up and running for 24/7. So now let's move on to the overclocking part. So right at the miner here, we can see that it is up and running Ethereum at 49.39 mega hash per second. So this one is the computational power that it can do right now. So you can see that the temperature is actually very high right over here. We have the first number is 62 and the second number is 82, and right now it's 67 and 86. So for graphics card that are having the GDDR6X memory, like the 3070 Ti, 3080 and 3080 Ti, and also the 3090, you need to be very careful about the second temperature, which is what we call the memory junction temperature. So when it gets above 100 or 110 degrees Celsius, it will start thermal throttling. And graphics card that are using the GDDR6X memories tends to be very hot. So the first thing that we usually do is actually on the MSI Afterburner, uncheck this auto fan settings and bring up the fan to, let's just bring it to 75, and then remember to click the apply button, and then the fan will actually start ramping up, and immediately later we can see the temperature starts dropping. So usually this is the first thing that we do. So what we want to do is actually increase the memory clock until the hash rate stops getting any higher or your GPU basically crash, meaning that the miner will stop or your computer will go into a blue screen or black screen. So for this graphics card, I personally know that it can handle very high overclock. So actually for any 30 series NVIDIA RTX 30 series graphics card, we can actually start with like plus 800. But just for a guideline, it is good to start with numbers like 500, and then you will click apply. And for the older graphics card like the 10 series or the 16 series, it is good to start with maybe plus 300 first. So right here, we can see that I've already applied the plus 500 memory clock, and the next thing is we need to let the miner run for a while and let the hash rate, the overclock settings reflect to the miner and see if we get additional hash rate. Alright, so a few minutes have passed and we can see we are getting 50 mega hash per second right now. So we gain a little bit of performance by overclocking the memory clock a little bit. So just to explain to you that the LHR 74 is actually the settings, the LHR tuning settings by the T-Rex miner. So when you are using an LHR card to mine with T-Rex miner, it will actually auto-tune the LHR unlock capability, so you don't have to worry about these settings right over here. So we are getting like 50 to 51 mega hash right over here with plus 500 on the MEM. Right now I'll just plus 600 and click apply, see whether or not we will get additional hash rate. Actually, I think for this one I can go up to 700 and see if it is getting any better. All right, so because we know that this graphics card can go a lot higher, but if you are using the slightly older graphics card, then maybe you have to go by 100 increment for the memory clock when it comes to overclocking it. Alright, so a few minutes have passed and it seems like we are getting around 52 to 53 megahash per second with plus 700 memory clock. So right now we are going to add maybe another 200, okay, to 900 on the plus 900 on the memory clock, and then apply it and see how much performance increment or hash rate increment that we can actually get. So while waiting the hash rate to reflect the new overclock settings, let me just explain a little bit about the flow of overclocking and undervolting. So the first thing that we usually do is actually, of course, increase the fan speed because we don't want the chip to get too hot. The next thing is actually increase the memory clock until we do not get any performance gain, or until in certain cases the display will crash, meaning that the GPU actually cannot handle the memory clock increment. So then we know that where is the maximum that it can handle. From there we know the limit. So the next thing that we'll do is actually adjust the core clock. Now for Ethereum, which is using the ETH algorithm, this algorithm is memory dependent, so meaning that it uses a lot of memory clock instead of core clock. So for mining overclocks for Ethereum, the core clock will usually decrease it so that we can save some power. So right now you can see that it is mining at 200 and around 240 watts, okay, which is quite high. So later on when we decrease the core clock, most of the time we can actually drop some power consumption as well. And after dropping the core clock, we need to make sure that we do not lose too much of the hash rate. So next we will move on to power limit. So power limit is kind of like undervolting. We decrease the power limit so that it doesn't use up to 100% of the power consumption that it is being designed to use. So we actually let the GPU to use less power. So in this step, what we need to take care is actually, while reducing the power limit, we do not lose too many hash rate. And we want to find kind of like a settings that is the most efficient one. So right at the miner here, we can see that it even gives you the efficiency. So right now you can see that it is at 220 over kilo hash per watt. So we want this number to get as high as possible. So the miner is up and running for a couple more minutes already, and we are right now somewhere around 53, slightly above 53 megahash per second. So let's go on to 1000 on the memory clock and apply the settings and see what result we can get. So after running the miner for a good 20 minutes, we can actually see that there is a line saying that changing LHR tuning from 74 to 74.5. So this is basically the auto-tuning process of T-Rex miner. So previously it was mining at 74% unlock of the mining capabilities of this GPU, and right now it is trying to tune it higher so that it will unlock slightly more hash rate out of this LHR GPU. And right now at plus 1000 on the memory clock, we are getting around over the high of 53 megahash to around 54 megahash, and things are still looking really great. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it 1100 and then click apply and see what we are getting later. Alright, so again, few minutes have passed. At plus 1100 on the memory clock, we are getting somewhere around 54.7 to around 55.5 megahash per second, which is great. We gain an average of like 0.5 to 0.7 or 8 megahash for every 100 increment after, I think, plus 900 on the mem. So what I want to do here is actually increase to 1200 and then click apply and see what we will get in a while. So again, this process would take some time. So when you are overclocking, you're finding the best settings for your GPU, you need a little bit of patience. So after apply the settings for the graphics card, then you can go ahead and do something else, then come back later. It is good to leave it for a good couple of minutes, okay, before you judge the mining performance, because the hash rate would require some time to reflect the new overclock settings that you have just applied. So we'll come back in a few more seconds. Sorry, not seconds, minutes. You see, I don't know what I'm talking about already. Alright, so a couple of minutes have passed. We start to see around 55 to somewhere around 56 mega hash per second. But we also see that the fluctuation is a little bit big, from 54.9 to around 56.5 or 56.56 right over here. So the fluctuation is definitely there. Let's try to give it another good 100 more, okay, on the memory clock, and we will see how it actually performs. Let's apply it and wait for another few minutes. So at plus 1300 on the memory clock, we start to see the hash rate stays around 56 more consistently, and we are getting as high as 56.85 mega hash per second, and for the low we are seeing 55.75. and as the memory clocks go higher, we also see that the efficiency is going higher, and the power consumption actually stays at around 230 to 40 watts or so. So increasing the memory clock actually increased the performance without raising the wattage too high, which means at the similar level of power consumption, we actually increase the performance, and that's why the mining hash rate is getting higher and we get better efficiency. So with this, I think I'm just going to try plus 1400 and see whether or not it can still handle. But I kind of feel like I want to stop right at this level, because we start to see a little bit of diminishing return as we go higher and on the memory clock. So let's just try and see if 1400 on the mem clock increment do anything to our mining hash rate. So plus 1400 on the mem is actually not good, because we start to see the hash rate is dropping from 55, 56 just now, and we are seeing 54 and then 53 mega hash per second. So I'm just going to stick with 1300 on the mem, and the next thing that we need to do is actually dropping the core clock. So I'll just drop to minus 200 first and see what it does. So understand that we are right now sitting at around 240 watts, and then just now when it is at plus 1300, we are sitting at somewhere around 55 to 56 mega hash per second, and for the efficiency we was at around 200 to 230 kilo hashes per watt. So let's see if dropping the core, okay, does anything to the mining hash rate or the efficiency. So we'll come back in a while. Alright, so a few minutes have passed. On the core clock just now, we minus 200. We don't really lose hash rate. We are still at 55 to 56 mega hash per second. However, the power consumption remains the same. So I'm just going to try to put it to minus 300 and see what it does. And while doing this, you can actually see that the LHR tuning is tuning a little bit higher already, from 74.5 to 75. So we are going to slowly unlock more hash rate, okay, from the LHR tuning. But again, we want to find the best efficiency settings right now, as we are dropping the core and later we are reducing the power limit. So right now we can see we are at 56.8 mega hash at LHR 75. wattage power consumption is around 232. So we'll come back in another few more minutes and see whether or not dropping the core clock is actually useful in this case. So right now we are seeing 56.97 megahash per second, which is a little bit of performance increase, but we do not really know that it is because of dropping the core clock or it is the result of the LHR tuning. So what I'm going to do here is actually just tune the core clock all the way down to -502 and apply and see whether or not it would really affect the hash rate and things like that. So if it wouldn't affect the hash rates, I will leave it at -502 first, and then I will go and tune the power limit. So let's come back again in a couple of minutes. Alright, so dropping the core clock doesn't seem to affect anything in this case, but meanwhile, I'll just leave it at -502, and then I'll go ahead and drop the power limit from 100 to maybe, I'll just put it as 80% because this algorithm is not a core intensive algorithm, so I can start with 80% power limit and see how it does. Okay, so right over here we can see that the efficiency was at 242, around 240 kilohash per watt. And by dropping the power limit, ideally what we want to see is the power consumption is dropping and the efficiency is actually going up in numbers. So meaning that we are not losing too many hash rate versus the wattage drop. So again, we'll come back in a couple of minutes and see how it actually performs. Alright, at 80% power limit, we can see that the hash rate maintained at somewhere around 55 to 56 plus megahash per second, meaning that we are not losing hash rate. And the power consumption is right now around 230 watts. So on average, we drop about 10 watts or so. So the efficiency number is going up to above 240, around I would say 245 on average, okay, kilohash per watt. So what I'm going to do here is drop another 10% of power limit to 70% power limit and then see what would happen. And actually we can unlink this and put a temperature limit to maybe a little bit higher at 80%. The reason why we want to do that is if the temperature limit is lower, like just now it was at around 70%, when it reaches around 60% or so, it will start thermal throttling or reduce a little bit of performance. So the temperature limit, usually I'll unlink it and put it somewhere around 80%. And so far I find that to be really great, okay, from my experience at least. Alright, so we'll come back in a couple of minutes and see how it will perform. Alright, so at 70% power limit, we actually lose a little bit of hash rate, but we are still at around 55 to 56. The hash rate that we lose is actually quite negligible, but the power draw is actually dropping to around 200 watts. Okay, so it drops another like 20 to 30 watts or so, which is great. And if we look at the efficiency number, it is now sitting at around 280 kilohash per watt, which is very good. So these settings, it's quite okay already, and we just want to try a little bit further. So let's see if we put 65 power limit, are we going to lose more hash rate or are we going to lose more wattage? So let's come back in another few minutes and see how it will perform. Alright, we are at 65 power limit for a couple of minutes already, and strangely, I realized that we are getting a little bit more hash rate. We are running quite stable above 56 megahash per second. That is a little bit strange. So that's why we need to do a lot of testing for every GPU that we have. And you can also see that, okay, we are running at around 187 watt, which means we drop another like 13 watts on average, and then the efficiency number actually went up, okay, to around 300 kilohash per watt, which is fantastic in my opinion. And I'm not sure if you realize that by decreasing the power limit, we are also dropping the temperature of both our the first number and the second number, which is the chip and the memory junction temperature. So which is good in my opinion. So we can actually drop the power limit further down to 60% and see what is going to happen. And let's come back in a few minutes time, but I kind of feel that 65 was going just now was actually quite good. I have a gut feeling telling me that 60% power limit is going to sacrifice some hash rate. I'm not sure, I could be wrong, okay? Gut feeling is always wrong, especially for men. Alright, so we'll come back in a couple of minutes. Alright, so at 60% power limit, we are getting around 53 mega hash, 54 mega hash at 173 watts. So the efficiency number did go up, which means it is more efficient right now, but I don't know. You decide whether or not you want to lose that much of hash rate. If not, I think you can go with like 65 power limit in this case or 60 power limit in this case. But if you really want to find the absolute most efficient settings, you can go ahead and drop more power limit, let's say to 55%, and see how it would actually performs. And I'll just give it another good few more minutes and see how it would react with 55% power limit. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Alright, so now we are back, and what we realize is actually the efficiency number drops when we drop the power limit to 55%, and the efficiency number is now back to 310 or 298 kilohash per watt, which means the efficiency drops when we drop the power limit to 55%. So I think the absolute best settings that you can get is somewhere around 60 power limit to 65 power limit. So again, this miner has been up and running for 1 hour, and you can see that the T-Rex miner is tuning the LHR capabilities again from 75% unlocked to 75.5% unlocked. So again, you see, as time goes, the hash rate is dropping lower and lower to 47 and 46. And yes, we did drop a lot of wattage, but the efficiency number is getting a little bit worse compared to where we were at 60% power limit. So again, for this case, I think 60 power limit is going to be the best settings for efficiency. And what you can do here is actually unlock this, and then you can actually press this diskette button to save it to any profile. So let's say I save to profile number 4, and then I lock it back. So next time when I come back to profile number 4, it will be these settings, and then you just go ahead and apply. So you can save multiple settings. Like in this test bench, I've already used up all of the slots already, and you can basically save a lot of templates, overclock templates for different coin that you mine. So we are now on the Ethereum overclock settings for this specific RTX 3070 Ti, and this is the entire process. So again, I'm basically running the entire process with you guys, and as you can see, the miner is up and running for 1 hour just to explain the overclocking and undervolting process. So again, up until this point, if you have learned something from this video, can you please just give me a good little thumb up? And if you want more content like this, can you please hit the subscribe button, all right? And also click on the notification bell, because it is quite tough to make this kind of videos. All right, so with that said, let's move on. So next, let's go to whattomine.com and calculate the profitability of this RTX 3070 Ti mining Ethereum with the hash rate and wattage that we have gotten just now. So based on What2Mine website, one 3070 Ti is going to give us 55 mega hash per second at 190 watts. So we basically achieve similar results compared to What2Mine's website, and just hit calculate, and then you can see your profitability. But to do things in a more accurate manner, you can go to you can click the Ethereum right over there and key in the hash rate. So we are getting around 55 something to around 56 point something. Okay, so just put, maybe I'll just put 55.5, and power I'll just put 187, which is what we are getting just now. Fees I'll put 1% because T-Rex miner actually charge 1% fee mining Ethereum, and HiveOn is not charging any pool fee, so I'll just leave it at 1% and then click accurate. Okay, so for the block reward value, we can put the average 7 days to get an even more accurate estimation. So you can see the block reward is 2.14 on average. So per day, we can expect around 0.00078 Ethereum mined, and if we were to sell directly, okay, we are going to get $2.23 in revenue, and after electricity cost, it would be $1.87 of profit mining Ethereum 24-hour on this RTX 3070 Ti. The second thing that we need to discuss is actually how long would you need in order to hit the minimum payout threshold of 0.1 Ethereum. So using this single RTX 3070 Ti as an example, according to whattomine.com and according to the profitability right now, I am going to get 0.0234 Ethereum if I mine for 24/7 for a month. So I would need slightly above 4 months in order to get a single payout of 0.1 Ethereum. So if you start with just a single GPU, if you have higher hash rate than what we have here today, then you would need probably like 3 to 4 months time. Or if you have a single GPU whereby the hash rate is lower than what we have here today, then it will probably take you more than half year or even a year in order to hit the minimum payout threshold of 0.1 Ethereum. Using one of the wallets that I mine into with Hive on Pool, I have around 220 mega hash per second mining on Hive on Pool, mining Ethereum basically, and the expected earnings per week is actually 0.02, which means with around 220 mega hash mining Ethereum, I'm going to get a payout of 0.1 Ethereum every 5 weeks, at least as of the profitability rate at the point of recording this video. So I would say if you cannot get even a single payout in about 2 months time or 1 to 2 months time, then it will be quite demotivating to mine Ethereum directly. So ever since the implementation of EIP 1559, mining profits on Ethereum has fallen drastically, and most of the mining pools out there are still having the 0.1 Ethereum minimum payout threshold. It takes forever for smaller miners to even get a single payout of 0.1 Ethereum, and after the minimum payout threshold has been met, you have to deal with the insanely high gas fee again, of course, unless you are using Hive on Pool, which cover the transaction fee for you, or else you would need to pay for the gas fee. And come and think of it, the gas fee that smaller miners have to pay could be mining efforts of a week or two, which is, to me, is not worth it. There are a few workarounds on this issue, and I'm going to share with you one of my absolute favorite solutions for this issue. But it comes with a compromise, which is to mine Ethereum but getting payout in Bitcoin. So if you're okay with getting payout in Bitcoin, this is not going to be a compromise. If you want to keep Bitcoin over the long run, then this is not even a compromise, this is a plus point. But if you would like to keep Ethereum instead of Bitcoin, then this is a little compromise. Basically, what you're gonna do is mining Ethereum with a pool called 2 miners and then getting payout in Bitcoin. The minimum payout threshold is 0.005 Ethereum, which is way lower than the standard 0.1 Ethereum. And the fee for the payout is less than 20 cents, which is way cheaper than Ethereum gas fee. If you want to read more details about this feature of the 2 miners pool, I will leave a link in the description on this article and then you can check out more. But meanwhile, let me demonstrate on how you can set up the miner. To set up the miner is fairly simple and straightforward as well. For T-Rex miner, we already have a template mining Ethereum to the 2 miners pool. So we can just edit the batch file. And for the server, because I'm now in Asia, so I will choose the mining server for Asia, and basically what I need to do is just copy this address and then paste it right over here. And for the address part, you have to replace it with your Bitcoin mining address. So go ahead and paste your Bitcoin address into the miner. And the last part, which is essentially replacing the rig name. So again, we can name it test bench, and then basically you just save it and you can launch the miner. And don't forget to apply the overclock settings that you have already figured out just now. So just now we have already done for the Ethereum overclock settings. You can just use the settings because it is exactly the same thing. You are mining Ethereum, but this one you are getting paid out in Bitcoin. To monitor your payout, mining profits, or even change your minimum payout threshold, it is fairly straightforward as well. Just go to eth.2miners.com and then go ahead and paste your Bitcoin mining address in the search bar and then hit the search button and you are good to go. So for our case, mining Ethereum with a single RTX 3070 Ti with 2 miners pool and being paid out in Bitcoin, every single day we are getting 0.000781 Ethereum, and since the minimum payout is actually 0.005 Ethereum, we're going to divide by 0.000781 and we'll get 6.4, which means for every 6 to 7 days we will get a single payout from 2 miners pool mining Ethereum, but the reward will be paid out in Bitcoin. So for small miners with just 1 or 2 or 3 GPUs mining Ethereum, I think this is one of the best solutions out there. So the compromise is, of course, you are being paid out in Bitcoin. If you don't mind to be paid out in Bitcoin, this is not even a compromise. And this is the solution that I like personally, and that's why I'm including this in this tutorial. Alright, so done with the Ethereum, let's talk about the second coin to mine, which is Ergo. For Ergo mining, I mine directly to an exchange wallet, and this is where I faced some issues lately. I used to mine into an exchange called CoinX, but suddenly it just stopped supporting deposit and withdrawal of Ergo, and for a couple of days I was actually mining into a wallet address whereby I have no access to before realizing it. After about a week, the exchange resumed the support for deposit and withdrawal of Ergo, and fortunately the wallet address stays the same and I was able to get all the pending payouts from the mining pool, which has already been paid out by the mining pool but yet to be reflected in my exchange wallet. But do bear in mind that there is a chance for the exchange to actually change our wallet addresses and even stop supporting deposit and withdrawal of the cryptocurrencies, because these kind of things is kind of normal for exchanges and it has already happened to many exchanges. This is the risk of mining into an exchange. Meanwhile, I'm mining into another exchange called Gate.io because I want the convenience to quickly swap my Ergo into USDT. But it doesn't mean that this exchange is risk-free. There is still risk. You can also mine into the official Ergo wallet whereby you have full control of it. But when you want to cash out your Ergo or swap your Ergo into USDT or Bitcoin, there will be an extra step whereby you need to send the Ergo out from your official Ergo wallet to an exchange and then swap it into USDT or Bitcoin. So definitely there is a little bit of network fee that you need to pay, and then it will take some time, and of course, there are just few more steps. So to me, there's a lot more hassles to do that. As I'm not a long-term holder for Ergo, I prefer to directly mine into an exchange whereby I can conveniently swap my Ergo into USDT or Bitcoin and keep them in Bitcoin or USDT. As for the miners, you can also use T-Rex miner to mine Ergo if you are using an Nvidia card, but if you are using an AMD card, you might need other miner. Just to give you some variety, I'll be demonstrating using NB miner. So again, go ahead and download NB miner from the official GitHub page. Do take note that the Autolycos algorithm, which is the algorithm to mine Ergo, is also affected by certain LHR GPU, but not as pronounced. So what you can do is actually go to whattomine.com and select the GPU that you have and go to the Autolycos section and look at the reference hash rate right over here. So if you are getting way hash rate than the reference hash rate right over here, it means that your GPU is affected or limited in Ergo mining as well. If your GPU is limited on Ergo mining, you have to be very specific in the miner that you are going to use, because you would need the miner to have the capability to unlock hash rate out from your LHR GPU. For example, T-Rex miner or NB miner. You also need to test out which miner can unlock more hash rate for your LHR GPU. So definitely there is some work that you need to do right over there. And if you are using a non-LHR GPU or a GPU is not affected in Ergo mining, then you have nothing to worry. As for the mining pool, personally I use Hero Miners to mine Ergo because it is one of the top mining pools for Ergo out there, and the pool fee comes in at only 0.9% compared to the average 1% pool fee out there. So now let's set up the batch file to mine Ergo on Hero Miners pool with NB miners. So after downloading the NB miners, remember to put it into the folder whereby you have already excluded from your firewall or antivirus, and then what you need to do is extract the zip file, and then to double click this, you would see the similar things like T-Rex miner. Yeah, you have some templates right over here, just that it is not as much as what the T-Rex miner has to offer. But basically, they are the same thing. Okay, so under here you can see start underscore Ergo. What you need to do is actually click edit. And if your Windows pop up these warnings, don't worry, you just have to click more info and then run anyway. So the bash file is actually quite similar with what you get in other miners like T-Rex miner. So first thing, we need to change or edit the server address. So again, go to the Hero Miners website, and then find the server that is closest to you. So in my case, it would be probably Singapore because I'm in Malaysia. So this would be the address. So what I need to do is copy that and then paste it into this section of the batch file. So the next thing that you need to change is actually this wallet address. So again, get your wallet address from your wallet or exchange. Paste your wallet address right over here, and then you have the .default following after the wallet address. So you have to maintain this dot, and this default is basically your rig name. So again, our rig name right over here is testbench. So once you have done with that, you can just save and then close it. So after saving and close it, you can go ahead and start the miner. So sometimes your window defender will still pop this out. So what you need to do is basically just allow access and you'll be fine. All right. So right now we are mining Ergo on the stock settings for this 3070 Ti GPU. So for auto Lycos algorithm, it is quite similar to the ETH algorithm, as in it is a very memory dependent algorithm. So you have to focus more on the memory clock. So again, some people will just use the overclock settings that they use for mining Ethereum to mine Ergo, but sometimes I find that the best efficiency settings for Ethereum and Ergo are going to be different. So for this demonstration and tutorial, I will run through the entire process with you. So again, right over here, we can see that the hash rate that we are getting is 140.2 mega hash mining Ergo 140.3. So the temperature is now 64 degrees Celsius and the memory temp is actually 76. So again, the first thing what we can do is actually on your MSI Afterburner, uncheck the auto fan and then ram it up to maybe 75 like just now, and then click apply. So the fan has ramped up, and right now we can start working on the memory clock first. So because we already know that this GPU can handle very high memory clocks, so we can just go ahead and start with 1000 and then go ahead and apply it, wait for a few minutes and see whether or not we get any hash rate improvement. So we'll come back in a couple of minutes. So after a few minutes, we can see that the hash rate that we are getting is around 158.7 to 9, and we are consuming around 210 watts on the power. So what we want to do here is again continue to raise up the memory clock and then apply, wait for a few more minutes and come back and see whether or not we get some hash rate performance increment. Alright, so we'll be back in a couple of minutes. So at plus 1100 memory clock, we are getting around 160.6 to 160.8 mega hash on Ergo, and we are consuming around 210 to 212 watts. So again, we know that just now mining Ethereum, the most efficient memory clock settings is at 1300, but again, you just have to be patient and go up hundreds by 100 each time on the MEM to try out. So right now, I'm applying it for another 100 more memory clock, which is now at plus 1200, and let's see if we can get more hash rate. So we'll back in a while. Alright, so for plus 1200 on the MEM, we are getting around 162.5 to 162.8 mega hash per second. And the power consumption basically stays at 212 watts. So another thing that you need to pay attention is of course the efficiency. So right over here we can see that we are getting around 760 over kilo hash per watt. So again, as you have already guessed it, we are going to raise the MEM to 1300, apply this overclock and give it a couple minutes and see whether or not we can get higher hash rate or better efficiency. So definitely, I think we're going to get more hash rate out of this. So that's why when the wattage stays the same, definitely the efficiency number will go up. We'll see in a couple of minutes time. Of course, I will see in a couple of minutes time. You'll probably just see the result. All right, so see you in a bit. So for plus 1300 on the memory clock, we are getting around 164.6 to 164.7 mega hash on Autolycos algorithm, and the power consumption actually increased by about 2 to 3 watts as I was monitoring just now, and the efficiency number stays at around 760 plus to 770 kilo hash per watt. So again, the efficiency number starts to stay at the same range right now. Okay, so what we want to keep an eye on is when we actually increase the memory clock, whether or not the efficiency will go up or down. Then we'll decide from there whether or not we want to keep it at higher clocks, memory clock speed, or we just want to cap it at maybe 1300 on the MEM. So we'll come back in a couple of minutes time. Alright, so for plus 1400 on the MEM, we are getting 2 extra mega hash. We are sitting at 166.6 mega hash mining Ergo, and then we actually also increase the power consumption by about 2 watts. So you can see that we are using 217 watts right over here, but the efficiency number actually improved to 770 somewhere there, okay, kilo hash per watt. So you can see that it is around there, but it seems like dropping already at 166.4, and the efficiency is running at 766.8, okay, which is slightly under 770 kilo hash per watt. So in this kind of scenario, it actually shows some signs of the efficiency is really reaching the peak already. And okay, we can see that right now it is running at 771. So on efficiency, I mean. Okay, so I will just try 1500 and see how it would perform. And I guess this would be the maximum that I would want it to run. And after this, we would be trying the core clock setting. So when it comes to a core clock for mining Ergo, there are actually some debates, and I would say for different GPUs, you really need to try out. For some GPUs, decreasing the core clock would give you more performance or better efficiency, but for certain GPU, you might want to increase a little bit of the core clock in order to get better performance. So when I say better performance, it could mean more hash rates or better efficiency. So we want to try both direction, okay, to decrease the core clock and see how it would perform, and also to increase the core clock and see what it does to the performance. So right over here, we can already start to see that we are getting around 168.4 mega hash and using 219 watts, and the efficiency number, as you can see, although we are getting higher hash rate, the power consumption also increased a little bit, making it the efficiency numbers stays at around 770 kilo hash per watt, which is around that region. So you can see that we are getting 168.3, but the due to the increment in power consumption, the efficiency stays at 768 to 769. So I guess I will just keep it at 1300 in this case. So if you want to leave it at 1400 is also fine. And so next thing that we want to try out is actually, I'll just try to increase the core clock and see whether or not it gain additional hash rate or better efficiency, things like that. So we just try core clock plus 100 and apply it, and we'll come back in a couple of minutes time. So for plus 100 core, we can see that it is mining at 164.8 mega hash, but the power actually running at 214 and 213, 215, and the efficiency number actually stays at around 770. But again, it doesn't seem to improve the hash rate nor the power consumption, I would say, okay, because the efficiency number, as I scroll back just now, it actually less efficient, I would say, okay, coming in at 760 over, okay, kilo hash per watt. So I would try to decrease the core clock by 100 and see whether it does anything on the either efficiency or just overall mining performance. So let's apply the settings, minus 100 on the core clock, still maintain plus 1300 on the MEM, and we'll see how it performs later. So we are back, and dropping the core clock to minus 100 actually gives us some surprisingly great result right over here. You can see that we are getting 164.7 to 165 mega hash. So we actually gain a little bit more hash rate by dropping the core clock, which means this algorithm, Autolycos, is actually memory dependent. When you drop the core clock, you get more performance. It is kind of like a proof that, okay, it is not core dependent. So again, for power, we are seeing 209 watts to 211 watts. For efficiency, we are seeing consistently above 780 kilo hash per watt. So meaning that dropping the core clock would improve the overall performance when it comes to hash rate and also efficiency mining with the Autolycos algorithm. So just want to try something out and drop the core clock by negative 200 and apply it, give it a couple of minutes and see how it would perform. So we'll come back in a bit. Alright, so we drop the core clock to negative 200. We are getting basically the same hash rate ranging at around 164.7 to 164.8 or 9, and the power consumption stays at around 209 to 210 watts. The efficiency number basically improves by a tad bit to around 788 kilo hash per watt on average, I would say. And I think the performance gain right over here, at least from the efficiency standpoint, is quite negligible. But again, we want to test out a little bit further, so let's go to minus 300 on the core clock and see whether or not the it will still behave the same, or it will have a better or worse efficiency, and after that we'll move on to decreasing the power limit. So we'll be back in a while. Alright, so when we drop the core clock to -300, the hash rate basically drops a little bit, I would say, ranging at around 164.5, 164.6, and the power consumption is now running at 208 watts. So efficiency wise, we are seeing 790 to 91 kilo hash per watt. So definitely there is some efficiency increment right over here, but it is not that apparent. So I'll just leave it here, although I can just drop the core furthermore, but I want to try out to decrease the power limit and see what kind of hash rate we will be getting, okay, versus the wattage that will be dropping due to the drop in power limit, because dropping the power limit would be the most straightforward way to reduce the power consumption. So just uncheck this one and then reduce the power limit to say a 90% and see what would happen first. Right, so we'll come back in a bit. Alright, so some strange things happen right over here. When I drop the power limit to 90%, it seems like the power consumption did not drop. So we maintain at around the same hash rate and the exact same wattage at 208 watts. So the efficiency number stays the same at 790 kilo hash per watt. And I guess I'll drop the power limit more to 80% and see what would happen. So again, I'll come back in a bit. Alright, so I've dropped the power limit to 80. Surprisingly, it doesn't do anything to the power consumption, and this is really strange, okay? So we are still running at the same hash rate, the same power consumption, and the same efficiency settings. Right now, we are seeing a 207 right over here, wattage in terms of our power consumptions, and basically it is the same power consumption, I would say. So let's drop to 70% power limit and see whether or not it will drop any wattage. If not, then I suspect that because we have dropped the core clock quite a bit, and that's why we have already dropped the power consumption. Well, maybe that's just what I'm thinking. So let's see if we can drop the power limit. Alright, so right now we are mining at 164 mega hash, okay, for Autolycos mining Ergo. The power consumption is 201 watts. So definitely it is dropping some power already, and the efficiency we are achieving 819 kilo hash per watt. I think I'll just let it sit for a couple of minutes or 1 minute or two, and then we'll see whether or not this is consistent. So right now we see that the power is 201 and then the efficiency is 819.6 kilo hash per watt. So I guess we have to drop the power limit more, okay? Just now when it is 90 and 80, it didn't do anything. So right now the power limit is at 70 and we start to see some power consumption improvement right over here. So I guess, shall we just try maybe 65 and see whether it drops more wattage without affecting the hash rate, because right now it is dropping wattage without affecting the hash rate, and that's why we see an efficiency bump right over here. Alright, so we're back in a couple of minutes. Alright, surprise, surprise, when we drop the power limit to 65%, we actually see some hash rate improvement. So we are now mining at 165.2 to 165.7 mega hash, and the power consumption is at 187 watt. So we dropped the power consumption quite a bit and improved the hash rate to 165 point something, and the efficiency is right now staying at above 880 kilo hash per watt consistently. So I guess the next thing to do is actually drop more power limit and see if it does anything to the efficiency. Does it Is it going to improve it, or is it going to make it worse? So we'll be back in a while. Alright, I'm back and I'm really surprised. We are dropping the power limit to 60%, and again we see hash rate improvement to 166.6 megahash to 166.7 megahash mining Ergo, and the power consumption is right now running at 173 watts. The efficiency has improved from 800 over to right now 963 kilohash per watt. So to my surprise, dropping the power limit right at this point actually increased the hash rate while dropping the power consumption, and therefore we get a really great efficiency bump. So next, of course, we have to go further and drop the power limit to 55 and then see how it would perform. So I'm very interested to find out. So let's come back in a few minutes and see what we will get. Alright, after dropping the power limit to 55%, we again gain some hash rate. So we are hashing at up to 168.5 megahash, and the power consumption right now is running at 159 watts. So the efficiency has gotten a bump up to 1.05 megahash per watt. So this is pretty amazing. So of course, I'm not going to just leave everything like this, and we are going to drop more power and let's see how it would turn out. Okay, one thing that you can also see while dropping the power limit, as what I've demonstrated during the Ethereum overclock demonstration, while dropping power limit, we actually see the temperature, both the chip and the memory junction temperature, they are both dropping. So the memory junction temperature right now is running at around 60, I would say 66, 58, 66. So definitely when you're dropping the power limit, you are also helping the internal components of the GPUs to keep more cool, I would say. So right now, okay, we are hashing at 167, 163. So definitely the power consumption, as we can see right over here immediately, power consumption is dropped to 144, but hash rate wise, we are getting 167.3, 163.9. We are actually gaining in terms of efficiency as of now, but the hash rate is being sacrificed quite substantially as well. So again, we are running at 163.8, power 144, efficiency actually improved from 1 megahash to 1.1 megahash per watt, but we are sacrificing like a good 5 megahash by dropping the power limit to 50. So again, this is up to you. Do you want the ultimate best efficiency by putting it to 50 power limits, or even lower? You can try like 45 or even lower, but I think I'm okay with these settings, okay, at 100. Actually, I think that 55 power limit just now is great as well. We get 168 megahash, and also it is consuming like 150 over or so, okay, watts, okay, in terms of power consumption. So there are a lot of things that you can fine tune. You can even fine tune it to like, how about 55 power limit versus 53 versus 50 versus maybe 48. So you can try a lot of settings and see which one you like the most. So I think we are pretty much at the very efficient state when it comes to overclocking and undervolting our 3070 Ti right over here, mining Ergo with the Autolycos algorithm. So when you are satisfied with the result already, with the overclock and undervolting settings that you have done, what you can do is, again, you can actually save this as a template so that next time you can just click the profiles, the overclocking profile that you have saved in the MSI Afterburner and click apply, and immediately you can start. So now let's move to whattomine.com and then look at the profitability mining Ergo. So under Autolycos, the reference right over here is 170 megahash per second with 150 power consumption. Of course, we are not getting this number. So we can scroll down and find Ergo. And then under hash rate, I will just type in 168, power consumption 159, okay? And the fee is 1% on the miner and 0.9% on the pool side, so it is 1.9. So again, calculate this, we will get the profitability of $1.40 after electricity cost. So we'll be mining around 0.54 units of Ergo every single day. So the minimum payout threshold for Ergo under Hero Miners pool is actually 0.5 Ergo. So in this case, we can actually get payout every single day mining Ergo with a single RTX 3070 Ti. So it is day 3 of us filming this video, and this video is very tough to film. It's actually tougher than what I have initially thought, and I believe that it wouldn't be easy to edit as well. So it's really quite time consuming because every time we apply the overclock settings, we need to let the miner to sit there for a while before the hash rate actually reflects the new overclock settings. And hopefully this video can help you guys to learn how you can actually mine directly into your Ethereum or Ergo and all other coins wallets. So while waiting the video guy to move the things right over here, because literally, last night this test bench right over here is left mining, without the display and also keyboard and mouse. And actually it was because if you still remember this PC right over here, which is our video editing PC, the video guy basically used this PC to do some basic cutting of the mining video last night. So, and then of course right now this PC is left mining. So what it is mining right now, I'll be sharing in the video later. And I just want to share with you guys is this: take everything slowly, one baby step at a time. And mining is definitely not easy, especially if you are not a computer literate, just like me last year trying to learn everything. It is definitely going to have some learning curve, but at least to me, I appreciate that I really learned a lot throughout this process, and definitely it is giving me certain amount of passive income. So start small, you gotta start somewhere, and then you grow progressively. All right, so with that said, let's go to the next coin to mine, which is Ravencoin. All right, let's talk about mining Ravencoin. So the first thing that we need to talk about is wallet. Personally, I mine Ravencoin into Exodus wallet, and this wallet is available on both desktop and also smartphone application. As long as you are using the same seed phrase to access the wallets, basically you can access and look at your wallet from PC or your smartphone. Alternatively, you can also mine directly into exchanges like CoinX, Huobi, and also Gate.io. You get certain level of convenience swapping the Ravencoin into Bitcoin or USDT, but of course it is associated with the risk that I've already mentioned previously. As for the miner, we will be using our good old T-Rex miner for this demonstration. Of course, if you have an AMD card, you cannot use T-Rex miner because T-Rex miner only supports NVIDIA card. So in that case, you want to use NB miner to mine Ravencoin. As for the mining pools for Ravencoin, personally, I have tried and used 2 mining pools, which are 2Miners and also Fly Pool. Either one is great, but if you have a higher hash rate, I would suggest you to use Fly Pool. Let me explain. The reason is because for the most mining pools out there, the minimum payout threshold for Ravencoin is 10 Ravencoin. And according to whattomine.com, even my single 3070 Ti right over here can mine up to 30 Ravencoin every single day, which means I will be getting 3 payouts every single day. If you have higher hash rate than this, or you point your entire GPU rig to mine Ravencoin, you will be getting way too many payouts in a single day. Based on my research asking around in the mining community, this is actually not an issue. The only thing is that you might get restrictions next time when you are trying to send a big chunk of Ravencoin out from that wallet at once. Like for example, next time you want to send 10,000 or even 100,000 Ravencoin out from your wallet to an exchange and then you want to swap it into BTC or USDT, you might get restrictions from the wallets and asking you to send in a smaller amount. So just bear in mind with this. But personally, I have not faced this issue despite the fact that I actually get the warning from my wallet. So for Ravencoin, I'm using Flypool because 2miners does not allow us to change the minimum payout threshold as far as I know. For Flypool, you can raise the minimum payout threshold so that you wouldn't get into the possible issue that I have mentioned just now. Now let's go to the T-Rex miner folder that we have already downloaded and extracted just now and set up the batch file to mine Ravencoin with Flypool. So inside the folder, you will find a few templates for Ravencoin to mine on the 2miners pool, Raven miner and Woolly Pooly. So if you were to mine at 2miners pool, you can directly edit this batch file, but of course we are using Flypool this time for this demonstration. We can just copy any template and then paste. After that, we just rename it to Raven Flypool and then go ahead and edit the batch file. And then you will probably be prompted with this. Just click more info and run anyway. So again, we get a very familiar looking batch file over here, and the things that we need to change are basically the same, which is the server and also the wallet address, and last but not least, the name of the rig. So go ahead to ravencoin.flypool.org, which is the homepage for this pool, and then over here click start mining. So you would get the server address right over here, and remember that to copy that, and then remember that the Stratum port is 3333. So go back to the batch file, paste this address, and then type 3333. Okay, replace the port with 3333. After that, you gotta change the wallet address right over here with your wallet address. So paste your wallet address here. Next thing, change your worker name. So again, I'll just name it test bench, and then we are good to go. Save this batch file, and then you can close it. Open up the batch file, and then we are mining Ravencoin. The algorithm to mine Ravencoin is known as Kapow, and one thing that I need to let you know first is this is a core intensive algorithm instead of memory dependent. So your cards will definitely run very hot, and in fact, if you look at the MSI Afterburner right over here, we can already see that the temperature is ramping up to 65 degrees Celsius, and this is just the chip temperature or the hotspot temperature they call it, not even the memory junction temperature. So your cards will definitely get very hot mining Ravencoin. So remember to have enough spacing if you are having a complete mining rig, and also you have to turn up the fan speed. So we are right now mining at the stock settings with this RTX 3070 Ti, and you can see that we are getting 32.6 megahash per second. The memory junction temperature, which is the second number right over here, is 88 degrees Celsius. So of course, the golden rule is do not let your GPU to go above 70 degrees Celsius. And for memory junction temperature, we ideally want to keep it below 100 because the thermal throttling will start at somewhere around 100 to 110. And actually, by recording this video right over here in an air-conditioned room, I start to feel that this test bench is quite toasty. So again, first step, uncheck this auto fan and then ramp up the fan speed. So in this case, I'll just put it at 85 because mining Ravencoin is very hot. So the steps to overclock for Ravencoin is basically the same. We start with the memory clock first and see how it would perform. So first thing, let's ramp up the memory clock to plus 1000 because we know that this can handle a lot. So we start with 1000 and apply. If you have a slightly older generations GPU like the GTX 1660 Super or things along those lines, you might want to start with plus 500 first on the MEM instead. So we have raised the memory clock to plus 1000, and right now we can see that it is running at 33.76 or 33.98 mega hash per second. So I'll just give it a while more and see how it would perform. Okay, so now it's 34.97, close to 35. Now we are at 35.08. I think I'll just go up to 1100, apply it, and we'll come back in a couple of minutes time. Alright, so we are at plus 1100 on the MEM, and then we are having 36.75 mega hash around there at 242 watts mining Ravencoin. So the temperature is also manageable right now. The memory junction temperature is running at 82 degrees Celsius, which is okay, acceptable. And pay some attention on the efficiency number. We are getting 151 kilohash per watt mining Ravencoin. So next up, let's bump up to 1200 and apply, see whether we get more hash rate out of this 3070 Ti. So we'll be back in a sec. So on plus 1200 MEM, we are getting somewhere around 37 to 37.1 mega hash per second. So next thing, of course, we want to bump up the memory clock to 1300 and click apply and see whether or not our hash rate will improve. And I think that it would definitely improve because on Ethereum and also Ergo previously, the performance somewhat peaked out at 1300, 1400 right over at this point. So I guess after this, I'll be adding a little bit of core to the overclock and see how it will perform. The temperature is still healthy, the memory junction staying at 82 degrees Celsius, power at 240 watts, efficiency around 154 kilohash per watt, which is very good, I would say. Okay. Next, we just wait for a few minutes and then we'll come back. And just to let you know that overclock on Ravencoin, in my experience, sometimes it would take a little bit longer time compared to the other algorithms to reflect your new overclock settings. I mean, the hash rate would need some time to reflect your new overclock settings. So we gotta be a little bit patient when we try to overclock for Ravencoin mining with the Kapao algorithm. So we'll be back in a while. Alright, plus 1300 on the MEM, we are getting somewhere around 0.3 mega hash more on this Kapao algorithm. So next thing that I want to try is actually bump up the core to plus 100 and see whether or not it will affect the hash rate before I keep pushing the MEM. So I give it a little bit more core clock first and see whether or not it would improve the performance. So it is still running at around 240 watts, efficiency somewhere still around that range, and right now we can see that it is running slightly higher at 37.45 mega hash per second. So I think, okay, definitely the core clock will affect the hash rate for Kapao algorithm because we already know that, okay, I already know that the Kapao algorithm is actually core intensive instead of being just memory dependent. So giving it a little bit core would be great. So we are still at 37.45. Let's bump up the MEM to 1400 and we will come back in a few minutes time. Alright, so for plus 1400 on the MEM and plus 100 on the core, we are still consuming 240 watts and we are getting somewhere around 37.78 to around 37.85 mega hash per second on the Kapao algorithm. So again, right now, let's just try to go up to 1500 on the MEM and see whether or not it will give us like maybe 38 mega hash And then the next thing is I might plus another 50 on the core after this and see whether or not it does anything to the performance. So we'll be back in a while. Right, so the miner has been running with this new overclock settings for around 4 minutes or so. The memory is on plus 1500 and the core is plus 100. I do not actually see any performance bump as we are still seeing 37.81 somewhere around there. So I guess I'll give it more core instead and give it 150 core and run for a couple of minutes and see if this performance has been topped out. So let's come back in a few minutes time and we shall see whether or not the performance will be impacted. So we'll come back in a while. Alright, so plus 150 on the core clock, we are getting slightly more performance coming in at around 37.9 to 37.93, somewhere around there, and we are still consuming 240 watts. So giving it a little bit more core definitely helps for Ravencoin. So I'll just go up to 200 and see whether or not we can still squeeze a little bit more hash rate from this 3070 Ti mining with the Kapao algorithm. So we'll be back in a while. Okay, so we are running at plus 200 on the core. It seems like we are getting slightly less hash rate coming in at 37.87 to somewhere around 37.91. So definitely I do not want to keep 200 on the core. I'll just leave it at 150. Of course, you can still fine tune this in plus 25 increments, but again, I do not want you to watch too long of this process because I believe you get the idea already. So I'll just leave this at plus 150 on the core and plus 1005 on the memory clock. And right now, I'm just going to drop the power limit from 100 to 90 and see what kind of efficiency we will get from power limiting this 3070 Ti. So we'll be back in a sec. Alright, so by power limiting the GPU to 90% power limit, I'm facing the similar strange issue that I have faced while power limiting the Ergo, mining the Ergo yesterday. I actually filmed that yesterday. So it's strange because the GPU actually consumes slightly higher wattage at 241 to 243 and the hash rate drops a tad bit, which is normal. The increase in wattage is a little bit strange, so I'll just try to further power limiting it to 80% power limit and I'll let it run for slightly longer and see how it would perform. So we'll be back in a couple of minutes, so see you. Alright, so at 80% power limit, definitely this time we are dropping some wattage, coming in at 231 watts. However, we are also dropping a good amount of hash rate. So right now it is hashing at around 36.2 to 36.4, 36.5 mega hash per second. So definitely for Ravencoin, it is very power hungry algorithm. So while dropping power limit, by dropping just like 10 watts or so, we are losing like 1 mega hash on the Kapao algorithm. And understand that 1 mega hash on Kapao algorithm is worth much more than 1 mega hash in Ethereum and also Ergo, because just that the algorithm treat the hashing things, it's kind of different thing. Okay, so it's like Ethereum we are getting like 40, 50, 60 or so, and Ergo we are getting like 100 over mega hash for the SAM card, and on Kapao algorithm you can see that we are only getting like 30 plus mega hash. So 1 mega hash in the Kapao algorithm is actually worth much more. So we are dropping a good amount of hash rate, and efficiency wise we are still sitting at around 150 over kilo hash per watt. So meaning that the efficiency standpoint, it kind of like more or less the same. So we are seeing 35.98 mega hash, which is dropping quite a bit. And let's see on 75 power limit how it would perform. And if on 75 power limit, it drops more hash rate, and if the efficiency number comes down more, perhaps we should try 85% power limit and see which one would be the most efficient. But I kind of feel like it is going to be more or less the same. All right, so we'll be coming back in a sec. All right, so 75 power limit is definitely not as efficient. We are dropping a good amount of hash rate as well, okay? Right now we are hashing at only 33 to 34 mega hash per second. So power definitely drops quite a bit, running in at 216 watt to 217 watts. And the efficiency number actually does not look great. But one thing that worth mentioning is actually by power limiting your GPU actually runs slightly cooler. So you can see the memory junction temperature right now is only coming in at 78 degrees C. But again, if you want more hash rate, perhaps this is not the settings that you want to go for. But if you want your card to run cooler, like for example, you are mining in a place whereby it is not that chill, or you are having multiple cards like this on a rig and they are hot, okay, they are toasty, so you might want to power limit more like so. But right now, I just want to try 85 power limit. Okay, as you can already see that the hash rates keep dropping and the efficiency number stays at 152 to 153. And I know that due to this demonstration, okay, actually for every overclock settings that we apply, we need to let the miner run for like a good 3 to 5 minutes before everything will reflect normally. So right now I've applied 85% power limit. We want to see whether or not the hash rate we get is okay and the efficiency would improve. So we'll be back in a while. I think while waiting for the miner to reflect the new overclock settings, which is 85% power limit right over here, I'll use this time to actually explain to you how you can track your earnings and payouts, and also how you can change your minimum payout threshold. So just like usual, you need to go to the mining pools homepage and find a search box whereby you can paste your wallet address and go ahead and hit the search button. So we just started mining into this pool, and of course the statistic right over here is not that accurate just yet. So no worries on that, because after mining for around 1 day, okay, things would start to reflect more accurately, more normally. So what you need to do to change your minimum payout threshold is actually going to settings, and then you can see 3 fields here. The first one is for you to enter your email address in case you want the mining pool to send you alerts when your mining rig or whatever things is down. And the next thing is actually the payment threshold. So for payment threshold, minimum is 10 Raven and maximum is 100,000 Raven. So depending on how many Raven coin you will mine in a single day. For example, if you have the 3070 Ti, 1 day you can expect around 30 Raven. If you want to get only one single payout every single day, you can go ahead and put 30, or you can also put a higher number like 50 or 100, so you will get like a payout every 2 or 3 days or so. If you prefer that one, then you put whatever number that you are comfortable with, or whatever numbers that work for you. And then the next thing, to save and validate the changes, what you need to do is to paste your IP address. So to know your IP address, go to whatismyipaddress.com and go ahead and paste your IP address right over here, and then you can save the settings. Alright, so back to the miner, we are getting around 37.2 mega hash per second mining Ravencoin with the power limit 85. So I kind of think like 80 power limit is going to be the best, because we are getting somewhere around 157 to 58 kilo hash per watt just now, if my memory serves me well. So I think 80 power limit is going to be the most efficient settings. And you can see that at 85 power limit, we are using like 245 watts. So let's just double check a little bit. At 80% power limit, it is hashing at 36.5 megahash right now, coming in at 231 watts. And the efficiency settings, it seems like maintain the same. So it's kind of strange here. We'll just let it run for a couple of minutes and we will come back and verify the efficiency again. I think what I want to do is actually, I'm gonna save these settings. I'm gonna save these settings and then let's save it to profile number 2. Gonna save these settings and I want to close the miner and relaunch again and see what's the result that we'll be getting. So again, we are at core clock plus 150, MEM plus 1500, power limit 80, and those are the settings. And let's close the miner and relaunch the miner. So I've relaunched the miner and right now you can see that it is hashing at 36.76 and 79 megahash per second. As you can see, we just launched this miner. It is having like 4 accepted shares right now and bam, we are actually getting 173 kilohash per watt, which is way more efficient than the settings that we have tried just now. So sometimes when the GPU is acting a little bit strange, it is good to find whatever overclock settings that works the best just now, save it, close the miner and relaunch the miner and see how would everything perform. So again, things are going back to a little bit more normal already. So we are seeing 36.45 megahash per second, and then at 231 watts, the efficiency number is back to 158 kilohash per watt, and we are now hashing at 36.45, 36.63 megahash per second. I'll just wait it load for a while. Okay, so we are at 160 kilohash per watt. So again, according to our experiment just now, this is the most efficient settings that we can find right now, at least for now. So closing the miner and relaunch and things will go back to normal, and this is the overclock settings that I'll call it a good one, at least for Ravencoin mining with the Kappa algorithm right now. So the miner has run for another minute or so, and right now we are getting 36.8, 36.6 megahash per second, and it is running at 231 watts. Efficiency around 159 to 160 kilohash per watt. I think that's pretty much it. This would be a great overclock settings. I would say it's efficient and great for mining Ravencoin with this 3070 Ti. So next up, let's talk about profitability. So to calculate the profitability, go to whattomine.com, and based on whattomine.com, a single RTX 3070 Ti for Kappa algorithm, it can do 39.5 megahash at 250 watts. So definitely my specific GPU right over here is not able to make it, at least based on my testing. But it's okay, let's just calculate and see what we would get, and then we do our own profitability calculation later. So as you can see, today is the third day of us filming this video. Ethereum has come out to be at the top. Okay, so remember that in the previous section of this video, because it was filmed like 1 and 2 days ago, Ethereum wasn't the most profitable one, and I have mentioned that most of the time Ethereum is the most profitable one, and sometimes the altcoin would just pop out at the top. And I've also mentioned that we usually do not focus on coins that have a low market cap. So again, this is just to sort of like show you that, okay, this is usually what we get. The Ethereum is usually coming at the top, and then we have this one, Zero, with which have low market cap, and then we have Ravencoin coming in at I would say it's the third place, because another one is Nice Hash. So again, hash rate, we will just put in the hash rate that I'm getting, which is 36.6. Let's just verify again. So we are getting, oops, the hash rate is dropping to 35.6, 35.8. So I'll just put 35.8, okay? because sometimes the hash rate will fluctuate a little bit. Power consumption, we are running at still 231 watts. And for the cost, 0.08, this is the electricity that I'm paying. The fees, miner is charging 1% and the pool is actually charging another 1%, so the fee is actually 2% in total, and then we'll just calculate. So for Ravencoin, I'll be getting somewhere around 28 Ravencoin per day, and the revenue is $1.95. So after the electricity cost, my profit is $1.50 per day if I were to mine 24 hours. So this is how you can figure out profitability of Ravencoins mining on Ravencoin. Alright, now let's talk about dual mining. So as the name suggests, dual mining refers to mining two cryptocurrencies or coins at the same time. And there are a lot of coins that you can dual mine with. At the point of recording this tutorial for Ethereum, there are more than 10 coins that you can dual mine with. In this specific scenario, we are looking into dual mining Ethereum with another coin with your LHR GPU with the primary intention of unlocking some mining capabilities out of your LHR GPUs. The reason why I'm including this section into this tutorial is because LHR GPUs are becoming more and more popular and common nowadays. If you are buying an RTX 30 series graphics card during second half of 2021 and beyond, most probably you are going to get an LHR version of the GPUs unless you are getting an RTX 3090, which is still natively non-LHR for now. If your GPUs are non-LHR GPUs or are not affected by the LHR, then this section might seem a little bit less relevant for you, but continue watching this video because you might be getting some LHR GPU very soon. Who knows, right? And also in the future, if you plan to dual mine some coins, then the process of setting things up are actually pretty similar, or at least you get some idea on how dual mining is being done. Every time when the new LHR cards are being introduced to the market, mining software developers are actively looking for solutions and developing solutions to unlock the mining potential of these LHR cards. And it is a blessing to know that dual mining can actually unlock the mining potential of these LHR GPUs up to 100%. At the point of recording this tutorial, there are 5 coins that you can dual mine with Ethereum with the intention of unlocking the hash rate from LHR GPUs. And these 5 coins are Ergo, Ravencoin, Firo, Conflux, and Alephium. And for the first 4 coins, you can actually mine Ethereum with 30% of the hash rate or mining capabilities, and the rest of the 70% will be used to mine either Ergo, Ravencoin, Firo, or Conflux. So to do dual mining, we will be using our good old T-Rex miner again. And just 17 hours ago, at the point of recording this tutorial, T-Rex miner has just released a latest version which adds Ethereum and Alephium dual mining support for non-LHR GPUs, which means if you are using non-LHR GPUs, you can dual mine Ethereum and Alephium as well. One thing to take note is actually the VRAM requirement of dual mining Ethereum with Ergo, Raven, Firo, or Conflux. So I will leave a link in the description of this guideline released by T-Rex Miner. So basically, for Ethereum plus Ergo, you need at least 8 GB or more of VRAM. For Raven, Firo, and Conflux, you need 10 GB or higher of VRAM. And this article is good in a way that it tells you roughly how much hash rates that you can actually get dual mining Ethereum with another coin. And also it gives you the overclock and power limit settings in this guideline that is being released by T-Rex Miner. So on my test bench is an RTX 3070 Ti and it only has 8 GB of VRAM, so we can only mine Ethereum together with Ergo in this case. Now let me demonstrate to you how you can set up the batch file to dual mine Ethereum and Ergo. So first thing, go to the T-Rex Miner folder that we have already downloaded previously and extracted. Look for the batch file LHR unlock dual ETH plus Ergo and then click edit on the batch file. So the first thing that we need to change is actually the server address of your Ethereum mining pool. So again, we'll be using Hivon pool. So just go ahead and copy the server address and then paste it right over here. So for Hivon, the port is also 4444, so I'll just leave it like this. Next would be the Ethereum wallet address. So go ahead and paste your wallet address right over here. Now, just a small side note here, if you are a small miner and you want to mine Ethereum and getting payout in Bitcoin with 2 miners, you can actually replace this with your 2 miners server address and port, and right over here you can paste your Bitcoin mining address and the Bitcoin wallet address, and it will work. I have tested this and get payout, so no worries to all the small miners out there. Next thing is, of course, we want to replace this rig name, so just go ahead and name it test bench right over here. Alright, so the next stretch of the batch file would be for Ergo. So same thing, on the server address, go to the Ergo mining pool, get the server address and paste it right over here. So again, I'm from Malaysia, so the closest server for hero miners mining Ergo would be the Singapore server. So I'll just copy that and then paste it in the miner. So the next thing would be replacing this wallet address with your Ergo wallet address. So paste your wallet address here and leave the dot here and change the rig 0 to your rig name, and then you can go ahead and save the batch file and we are ready to go. Alright, so the miner is up and running Ethereum with the ETH algorithm and also mining Ergo at the same time with the Autolycos algorithm. Alright, so now I'm back to the guideline posted by T-Rex Miner for 3070 Ti that actually give a sort of like a benchmark or reference overclock settings, which is a log core clock of 1540, memory clock of plus 1300. So we're just going to try out these settings, and at the same time I'll teach you how can you lock the core clock at 1540. So let's try this out. So right now the miner is dual mining Ethereum and Ergo at the same time, and it is running at stock settings. So we can see that for the Ethereum, it is mining at 22.59 megahash per second, and you see LHR 30, it means that it is using 30% of the mining capability to mine Ethereum in this case. And for Ergo, we can see that under this one, you can see the mining at sg.ergo hero miners. This is mining Ergo with 99.69 megahash per second. Okay, so it is pulling around 245 watts because this is the stock settings. So as for overclock, there are a few things that we want to try out and see what settings would be the best, okay, in terms of profitability. So the first thing that we want to try is actually using the Ethereum overclock settings and see what kind of results we are getting. So go to the MSI Afterburner, click the profile that we have already saved just now for mining Ethereum and apply it. So I'll give it a couple of minutes for the hash rate to reflect these new overclock settings. So we'll be back in a while. Okay, so the miner is up and running for a couple of minutes with the Ethereum overclock settings that we have done just now, and we can see that on the Autolycos algorithm, it is mining at around 116 megahash per second. As for Ethereum, we are getting somewhere around 22.9 megahash per second. It is pulling 173 watts. So the first thing that we need to do is actually go and calculate the profitability of dual mining. Alright, so for the hash rate, let's just double confirm the hash rate we are getting. We are getting around 21.6 right now. Okay, so I'll just put it 21.6 megahash on Ethereum. The fees, I'll leave it at 2% because if I'm not mistaken, the miner is actually charging 2% for dual mining. So for the Ergo hash rate, just double check, we are getting around 117. So I'll just key in 117 117. As for the fees, Hero Miners is charging 0.9%. Power consumption, we are pulling 173 watts. Just let's confirm again. Yes, 173 watts. So the cost of electricity at my side is 0.08 cents per kilowatt hour. And let's go and hit the calculate. So we can see per day we are expecting a profit of $1.76. And let's just go and double check with Ethereum mining alone. So for Ethereum mining alone, we are pulling 55 mega hash from Ethereum mining alone, and power is 187 watts, cost 0.08, fees leave it at 1% because that's what the miner is charging. And let's hit calculate. We are actually getting $1.99 in terms of profit after electricity. So that's the thing that we need to really do our homework and compare the different profitability. So in this scenario, mining Ethereum alone is more profitable than dual mining Ethereum plus Ergo, despite the fact that we can actually unlock the full potential of the LHR GPU. Of course, the story doesn't end here because right now we are dual mining Ethereum and Ergo, and we are using the overclock settings which is best for Ethereum. How about if we change the overclock settings that is meant for Ergo mining? So let me just click the profile that we have previously figured out to mine Ergo and then apply. And we will give it a good few minutes before the hash rate actually reflects this new overclock settings. Well, let me explain certain things to you. Now, if you look at the miner right over here, you can see the LHR is at 30. Just understand that the LHR unlock capabilities will auto-tune itself by T-Rex miner. So for dual mining Ethereum with Ergo or Raven, Firo, and Conflux, the LHR tuning will also do auto-tune itself. So sometimes you can see like LHR 21. So if you see LHR 21, it means that 21% of the mining capabilities is being used to mine Ethereum, and the rest of the 79% is used to mine the second coin that you have chosen. Sometimes I have also seen numbers that are larger than 30. So personally, I have seen like 36, 37. So the miner will actually tune it itself automatically. So this part we do not need to worry. We just have to figure out what coins are more profitable in general to be mined, whether or not it is single Ethereum or dual mining Ethereum with another coin. Alright, so the miner has been mining for a couple of minutes with the Ergo overclock that we have set previously, and we are seeing that the hash rate for Ergo is hashing at 123.3 and 120. The hash rate for Ethereum, of course, it is dropping and it is mining at 17.6 mega hash. Wattage is 159, of course, because the power limit for these settings is actually way lower. So what we want to do now is actually key in this hash rate into what to mine. So for the Ethereum hash rate, we are getting 17, and for Ergo, we are getting somewhere around 100. And let me just confirm. Okay, so for Ergo, we are getting 120 and 18 point. Let's just put 18 right over here and 120. So power is 159, and let's calculate. Right, so we are getting $1.68, which is lower than using the Ethereum settings. Of course, things do not end here. One more thing that I want to try is actually, according to the T-Rex miner guideline, it actually gives us sort of like an overall recommendation when it comes to overclock settings. So for 3070 Ti, we can use a log core clock of 1540, which I'll be showing you how you can do that in MSI Afterburner, and then memory plus 1300 and core 0. So we'll just follow this and see what's the result that we'll be getting. So first, let's reset the overclock and put the fan speed to 75, and the power limit, I'll just leave it there. And then for the memory clock would be 1300, and let's just click apply first. right? Wait, 1300, and then apply. All right, so the next thing we want to change is actually absolute core clock, which is a lot core clock. Head over to this curve editor and you will see this chart right over here. So what you need to do is actually click the first dot towards the left, and then you move your cursor down a little bit, you click on it, and then you press shift and highlight everything all the way to the end. And then on your keyboard, press shift enter, and you will see that you can actually change the number right over here. So I'll just hit backspace and type 1540 and click enter. Okay, so in this case, I actually do not manage to highlight everything. I only highlight on the first dot, so let's just try again. Okay, so enter 1540. All right, so right now we are locking the core clock at 1540 and close it. Let's apply the settings and see what kind of result we can get. So we'll come back in a few minutes time. All right, so we are back to the miner and we can see that it starts some LHR tuning from 30 to 30.5, and with the overclock setting that is recommended by the T-Rex miners article, we are getting 22.9 megahash per second on the Ethereum, and also 113 from the Autolykos, okay, algorithm. So again, we want to go to the whattomine.com and key in these numbers. All right, so we are back to whattomine.com and let's just double check what kind of numbers we are getting right now. So I'm getting 21.6 on Ethereum and 115 on Ergo. So let's just put 21.6 on Ethereum and then 115 on Ergo. And power consumption, we are actually pulling 184 watts. So let's just put 184 watts and click calculate. So as you can see, the profitability is coming in at $1.72, which is still less than direct mining Ethereum alone. So this is the thing that we need to consider whether or not we want to mine Ethereum with 74 to 76% hash rate unlocked, or we want to dual mine Ethereum with another coin, because sometimes dual mining is more profitable. Now, in the event that the price of Ergo is going up, the profitability number will of course go up as well. So there are a lot of things that we need to consider progressive. At the point of recording this tutorial, mining Ethereum alone is more profitable than dual mining Ethereum plus Ergo, but that doesn't mean that it will be always like this. So sometimes dual mining is going to be way more profitable than mining Ethereum alone. On the other hand, you might have already realized that dual mining comes with a very huge compromise. That is the overclock setting. When it comes to the overclock settings of Ethereum and Ergo, the disparity is actually quite minimal because both coins are being mined with algorithms that are memory dependent. So you would actually do great dual mining Ethereum and Ergo with Ethereum overclock settings, or the other way around. But on the other hand, if we were to mine Ethereum together with Ravencoin, there will be a big compromise when it comes to the overclock settings, because Ethereum is not going to perform well with your Ravencoin overclock settings and also the other way around. So you have to give up the efficiency very much on either one side. So if you were to use the overclock settings for Ethereum, then you are going to do badly in mining Ravencoin. And if you were to use the Ravencoin overclock settings to mine Ethereum, I can guarantee you that that's not going to be very efficient, because Ethereum is memory dependent and Ravencoin is core intensive. They are just not going to be very good working together. But again, you still get to mine some coins. That's the great part. It becomes even tougher for miners to make decisions because most miners want to keep Ethereum, and that's why we are mining Ethereum. But it could only be mined at around 30%, which means if we were to use the best settings for Ethereum mining, then another 70% would not be that efficient, especially if you're mining Ravencoin and also Firo, which are core intensive. And if we were to use it on the core intensive side, then we will get way less Ethereum at super high level of power consumption. So again, this part is a tough pill to swallow. But again, understand that sometimes, even though this is a tough pill to swallow, if profitability standpoint, dual mining is more profitable than mining Ethereum alone at 74 to 76% hash rate unlocked, then why not? And now let's talk about another coin that you can dual mine with Ethereum, and it is called Alephium. This is more interesting, and actually dual mining Ethereum and Alephium has just been discovered like about a week ago before I prepare making this video. And the reason why this is interesting is because you can mine Ethereum up to around 68% of the mining capabilities of your LHR GPU, and the rest would be used to mine Alephium. More Ethereum is always better because Ethereum is the most profitable coin to be mined, I would say more than 90% of the time. And a lot of people trust Ethereum, a lot of people have conviction for Ethereum. We just have to forego a little bit of Ethereum hash rate from around 74 to 76% hash rate down to 68%, and the rest of the 32% will be used to mine Alephium. Now, with dual mining Ethereum and Alephium, the situation is more forgiving when it comes to figuring out what overclock settings to be used. Because we are using 68% of the mining capability of the LHR GPU to mine Ethereum and the rest of the 32% on Alephium, so we will be good just to use the Ethereum overclock settings to dual mine Ethereum and Alephium. Let's talk about the wallets and mining pool first before we proceed to the demonstration on how to set up the batch file. So for the wallet, just like Ergo, you can actually use the official Alephium wallets, or you can mine directly into an exchange. But of course, when you mine into the official wallet, when you want to swap your Alephium into USDT or Bitcoin, you will need to send your Alephium from the official Alephium wallet to an exchange wallet and then do the swapping process and things of that nature. So definitely there are going to be extra steps and also some network fees that you're going to pay. To me, I want to sell some of the Alephium into USDT and convert into fiat to cover some of the electricity and whatnot. So that's why I prefer to mine directly into an exchange for convenience. Now, Alephium is still considered as a very new project, so it is not being supported by a lot of wallets or exchanges out there. But one good news is this: Gate.io, which is the exchange that I use to mine Ergo and Ravencoin too, is also supporting Alephium. So this would be the wallet that I'm going to use to mine Alephium into. As for mining pool, we will be using Hero Miner to mine Alephium. Now here I want to give you some tips on how you can choose mining pool whenever you want to mine a coin that you are not familiar with. So what you can do is actually go to this website called miningpoolstats.stream. So for example, if you're figuring out what other mining pools out there available for Ethereum, you can go ahead and click Ethereum and look at the mining pools available out there. So the top one would be ethermine.org. This is the pool that I used to use before EIP 1559. So you can see that the pool fee is 1%, and it is having 31.1% of the network hash rate. So F2 pool is the second one, but the fee is 2%. The third one is Hive on pool, and it has a 0% pool fee, and it is coming in at third place, which is still good. Now you have to find the top mining pools so that you have a greater chance to hit a block. So let's look at maybe Ergo. Just search at the search bar right at the left side. So for Ergo, you can see that the top mining pool is actually nanopool.org, and it is having 39.9% of the network hash rate. The second is Hero Miners, which is the one we are using, and of course, I'm using it because the fee is 0.9%. And let's go for Ravencoin. Just search around and demonstrate to you. So for Ravencoin, we can see that the top one is 2miners.com and the next one is flypool.org. So fees, they are the same, okay, 1%. And the reason why I choose Flypool is because I can actually raise the minimum payout threshold so that I don't get like too many small payouts into my wallet. As for Alephium, we can also search Alephium in the search bar right over there, and then we can actually see that Hero Miners coming in at top, and it is having 67.8% of the entire hash rate in the Alephium network, and the fee is 0%. If you want to support decentralizations, you can actually choose the second mining pool, which is Wooly Pooly, because we do not want a single mining pool to control more than 50% of the entire network hash rate. But if you are all into profits, then of course go ahead and use Hero Miners because the pool fee is 0%. So now let's set up the batch file to dual mine Ethereum and Alephium. So go to the T-Rex Miner folder and look for the batch file called LHR Unlock Dual ETH plus Alephium. Right click and click Edit. So the batch file is actually pretty similar with the dual mining LHR Unlock ETH plus Ergo just now. The first thing that you need to change is actually the mining server of Ethereum. So go ahead to the mining pool website and look for the server address. In this case, I'll be using Hyphon as well. So go ahead and copy the server address and then paste it into the batch file. So the port is 4444. And as for the wallet address, paste the wallet address right over here. And also, just a side note again, you can mine with 2miners pool and then get payout in Bitcoin. So just replace it with Bitcoin address and 2miners mining pool server address, then you are good to go, just like how we have done it on the Ethereum, single mining Ethereum, and also dual mining Ethereum plus Ergo. So the process is the same thing. I have tested it. You will get paid out in Bitcoin, so no worries to all the small miners out there. Next thing, of course, is the rig name, test bench. So after the UR12, this would be your mining pool address, server address for Alephium. So go to the Hero Miners Alephium homepage and then select the server that is closest to you. In my case would be Singapore, and then replace it, okay, in the batch file like this. Alright, so we are good. Now, next thing, wallet address. So wallet address, remember you need to use an Alephium wallet address. So go ahead and paste your Alephium address here and remember to save the miner, then we are good to go. So now double click to launch the miner and it will start dual mining Ethereum and Alephium. So for the overclock settings, it is pretty straightforward. Just use your Ethereum mining overclock settings. So at the profile that we have already saved, click it and apply it. So we will come back in a couple of minutes and see what kind of hash rate we are getting dual mining Alephium and Ethereum. Alright, so we'll be back in a while. Alright, so the miner has been mining for a while. Right over here, we can see that the LHR is still at 68%. It's not being auto-tuned just yet. And for Ethereum, we are seeing 49.9 mega hash and 48 something. So it is around 48, somewhere around 48, I would say. And for Alephium, we are getting 260 mega hash to somewhere around 270 over mega hash. So I guess we need to get kind of like the middle ground, okay, in between these numbers. And for power consumption, we are pulling 170 watts. Next up, let's go to whattomine.com and figure out the profitability. So under this Ethereum Plus, click it and select Ethereum Plus Alephium. So right now we need to key in the numbers into whattomine.com. So for Ethereum, we are getting somewhere around 48.5. Fees will be 2% because that's the miner charging it for dual mining. And for Alephium, we have to remember just one thing that to take note. It is gigahash right over here. So we are getting 260 over mega hash. So we need to convert it into gigahash. So 265 mega hash would be 0.265 gigahash. So fee is 0% because the Alephium mining pool for Hero Miners is not charging us any fee just yet. Power consumption 170. Cost of electricity is 8 cents at my side, and we're gonna hit calculate. Alright. So we are getting $1.96 right now dual mining Ethereum and Alephium. And for mining Ethereum alone, we are getting somewhere around $2.02. So in this scenario, single mining Ethereum is still more profitable than dual mining Ethereum plus Alephium. But I'll leave this choice to yourself. Do you want to dual mine Ethereum and Alephium, or do you want to single mine Ethereum alone at around 74 to 76% hash rate unlocked? So to me, the disparity is not by much. So personally, I am dual mining Ethereum and Alephium right now, and I'll just sell a little bit Alephium to cover the electricity cost and whatnot, and the rest of the Alephium I'll just keep it, so next time if it were to go up in price, or I can just put a limit order to sell my Alephium at slightly higher price to sort of offset the lack of profitability of this Ethereum plus Alephium choice right over here. So to me, it is okay to dual mine Ethereum and Alephium right now. So Alephium price right now is not that stable. It is actually quite downtrend. So that's why the profitability suffer a little bit. Just about a week ago, dual mining Ethereum and Alephium is actually more profitable than single mining Ethereum. So again, understand that this is the profitability at the point of recording this tutorial. If the price of Alephium were to crash further, then the profitability would suffer quite a lot. And if Alephium were to go up in price, the profitability, I believe, would go up as well. So as miners, progressively we have to check all these profitability and decide which coin we want to mine or dual mine. This is a little bit of homework that we need to do, and yeah, progressively we changed our decisions, and progressively we learn a lot of things as well. Finally, after 3 days of filming, this video has come to an end, and I hope that this video will help you in your cryptocurrency mining journey. To wrap up this video, I just want to share a little bit about my personal cryptocurrency mining journey. I personally started with a laptop that I already had, and it was back in February or March of 2021, which is about 1 year ago. And of course, I do not recommend you to mine with a laptop, but try to use what you already have. Now, if you do not have any mining equipment, what you can do is actually invest one and try out cryptocurrency mining and just see whether or not you like cryptocurrency mining, or if cryptocurrency mining is something for you. If you reckon that cryptocurrency mining is not something for you, you can easily sell away your discrete graphics card, or you can use that PC for other purposes. Now, if you think that cryptocurrency mining is something for you, then I have a warning, all right? It is going to be very addictive, because I don't know how to put it into words, but the feeling, at least to me, the feeling of seeing those cryptocurrency coming into my wallet, it's kind of like a passive income. Now, of course, it involves a lot of investment. It is a hefty investment to buy all those equipment, but seeing those passive income is really a nice feeling, I would say, because I'm a fan of passive income. So just to warn you, I have a lot of friends around me, if they try out cryptocurrency mining, if they think that it is not for them, then they would just stop right over there. And if they like the idea of cryptocurrency, they like the experience, they like the feeling, this journey is going to be very interesting because it is addictive. Am I right?
Yes.
So my video guy, my friend right over there is also has also found that cryptocurrency mining is really interesting. So what you can do is actually start with a baby step. Use what you already have, or if you don't have any single piece of equipment that can do the mining, invest in one graphics card. You can just get a really a cheaper one like the 1660 Super or the TI or the RTX 3060, just to try out cryptocurrency mining first and see whether it is something for you. And with that said, I wish you all the best in your cryptocurrency mining journey, and I will see you in the next video, be it a cryptocurrency mining one or on personal finance and things along those lines. And also do not forget to hit the like button, leave some comment, okay? how do you feel after watching this video, or how this video has helped you? All right, and also do not forget to hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. I will see you when I see you. So peace out.